then we went out to go eat dinner with Jackie Chan and we ate crab. He's like, you like crab? King crab. Best, most expensive, all China. It was like,
That's dope.
he's like sitting there at the table watching our YouTube videos. And then he's like, literally saying, he's like, your choreography is fucking amazing.
Hey guys, we're Unconventional Millions. We share stories with people who have found success or are on the path to find their success in their own unconventional ways. In society, we've seen this common culture to have to get perfect grades, to always compare ourselves to others, and we're needing to get to the top college to be success, and really want to start and change this culture to see that there are many different unconventional ways to find success.
All right. So today we have with us dancer, choreographer, and co-founder of the Kinjaz Studios, Anthony Lee. So the Kinjaz have competed on World Dance Season 1, America's Best Dance Crew Season 8, and you may have seen them in music videos with artists like Jackson Wang, Lecrae, Justin Bieber, Boys Generally Asian, Ryan Higa. And you may have seen their performance at the 2018 Warriors versus Lakers game, or you may have seen one of their YouTube videos that have been sweeping YouTube all over the internet. So we're here, we're talking with Anthony Lee, and honestly, it feels kind of surreal right now, but this is what we have.
What do you guys normally talk about on your podcast?
So we mainly just talk about Oxford Academy. It's a super academic driven school. So we have a culture that's pretty toxic in terms of like people trying to be really competitive to each other. Yeah. So we just want to like kind of try to like show that there's a lot of different ways to success rather than the conventional way of like.
Mm-hmm. You said Oxford Academy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I went to Oxford Academy. I went there as the first 7th grader ever. So when I graduated 6th grade, there was this, they were scouting people in my 6th grade, whatever that's called. I almost want to say senior year elementary. No, just 6th grade. I was at a 6th grade in Boynton Park at a school called Walter Knott Elementary. And then my aunts, I think, were like going to like Kennedy or Cypress High or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And then I was actually supposed to go to like Walker Junior High, I think, because my sister was on there. But then there's this academic school, right? This like pristine concept of like a 7th through 12th grade academy. It was like the whole 9 yards. It was you had to wear school uniforms and stuff. Like,
That's it.
You still got to do that?
Yeah.
How strict is it?
It's not strict as much anymore, but when we were in 7th grade, it was more strict. We couldn't like take out our phones and stuff, but new principles, new rules. Yeah.
I remember we always had to wear the same stuff, so everybody was just trying to figure out how to look fly with like
Yeah.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah,
for sure. You're still young.
High school, or did you stay at Oxford for a couple years, or?
Yeah, I stayed there for 2 years, and then I transferred to Sunny Hills High School because that's where my sister was going. She's 2 years older than me, so she was already there. The idea from getting dropped off as a kid from like Cyprus, going to like Fullerton to drop off my sister at like Sunny Hills, then going all the way to Cyprus to drop me off at Oxford, like didn't make sense. So I just tested for the IB program to get into Sunny Hills. In order to just stay there with her and my cousins, and that was it.
Dang, that's wild. Dope. That's crazy.
That's normal. That's not crazy. That's normal, right?
No, like that you went to our school.
Yeah, you went to, yeah, because I did not know that.
There was a club called Club Live there. You ever heard of that?
No.
Nah.
There was this club at that time called Club Live. Honestly, I don't even remember what we did. All I know is I was the president. That happened. I saw my first like live windmills at a dance at Oxford Academy, and then I remember going home and trying to practice it and failing, totally failing.
Wait, windmills? Wait, what?
Windmills, like the dance move.
Oh, I did not know that was a dance.
Yeah.
So is that like where the passion for dance like kind of started?
I'm sure that it was an inspiration point. I'm sure that there was like a percentage, that just influenced me in that moment. But I think a number of things, got me into. My sister got me into dance a lot. I actually credit my sister a lot for kind of taking me out of the thought realm of like, oh, this kid likes to dance, and then actually putting me in a world situation. She I think she was in high school. She was in dance production. This is when I was in junior high, and so that makes sense. At that same time, I was like really, loving to try and emulate dancing, love Michael Jackson, all that stuff. And then I guess there was like a guest workshop that she had at Sunny Hills, and oh man, this was such a huge moment. She was like, hey, like, I know you like to dance, so come out to this class or whatever. I was, thinking I was like a cool kid. I was like, nah, man, that's weird. Like, I'm not gonna go to your dance production class, whatever. She like forced me to go, right? It was like hella awkward. It was like only girls, This was like, like 97, 98. The idea and the comfort of even like men dancing was just like not something familiar to, a teenage boy like myself. It was just interesting society type of situation with guys dancing at the time. So I was super shy. Never really did it before. And then I remember this dude comes in. I don't remember who it is. Black dude comes in, starts teaching this class. I'm like there with a bunch of girls from the dance production that are like probably laughing at me in my head, and man, I'm like having the time of my life while this dude's teaching class. I'm like, yo, this is sick. I'm like, halfway through, and like the only dude there just like, yeah, hip hop. Not knowing what I'm doing or anything like that, but that was one of the biggest things that could have happened to me to like understand, what this thing could do. It was like a formal experience versus just this like kid in his socks trying to pretend like he knew what he was doing, but didn't at all.
And then like ever since then, did you just like start going to class like really?
No. Actually, I didn't take dance class for years. I never took dance class after that until like I took 2 dance classes in college, and then I didn't start like for real taking dance classes until I was like teaching internationally already.
Dang. So you basically learned everything on your own.
I went on my own because I had like amazing mentors, peers, and teachers and stuff like that. But it wasn't in the classroom, right?
Yeah.
Like in the session,
cool.
it was in like we had once a week studio sessions at our recreation center at UC Irvine for UCI Breakdance Club at the time, and then we turned it to B-Boys Anonymous. I don't know what it's called now. And garage sessions and ciphers and living room carpet sessions and choreography sessions, and then parking lot and parking structure rehearsals with my dance team in college, CADC. But it was never like I never jumped into the studio to like take class or learn things in that way. It was always in a parking lot. I remember thinking to be in a studio to like have like nice floors or air conditioning or mirrors or like a good sound system. I thought that was a luxury I would never be able to afford. Because we was just in parking lots looking like homeless people, just a bunch of homeless Asians with like sleeping bags on cold nights and stuff, staying out till 6 a.m. trying to get a show together.
Definitely. So like what is like the biggest part about dance that kind of inspired your passion for it?
Oh man. I feel like dance and sports are like the 2 things out there that really bring people together, in a unique way. You don't have to speak the same language, believe in the same faith, have the same skin color. Doesn't matter what your, for the more so in dance than in sports, it doesn't matter what your gender is, or your sexual orientation, or, to me, dance is like the most, in its ideal form, it's the most inclusive culture in the human experience, and I say that because like, even with sports, you need like rules, right? You need to learn it. Dance, you don't actually have to learn anything to dance. To dance well, sure, but you know what I'm saying? Like if a baby who doesn't even know how to speak words can understand an emotion and a vibe and like hear music and just start moving around, then there's like this inherent connection that human beings as a species have, you know what I mean, in the feeling of dance. Not dance, if dance is a vehicle, then like the feeling, the emotion, the why, all of that, like there's this like really powerful, inexplainable thing that everybody has. You guys all dance in some way, I'm sure. Whether it's good or not, it doesn't matter. It's like when you celebrate some shit, right? You know, when somebody tells you good news, you know, and you just jump for joy and all that stuff. There's like that kind of magical, invisible power source that connects all human beings. And dance as a culture, regardless of it being a career, dance as a culture, and I feel like is like one of those pure, interconnecting human experiences that this planet has to offer, period. Like, I've actually never seen another culture as powerful. You know what I'm saying? In terms of, and I think it's also in the combination of music, right? Music is insanely powerful, you know, and the way it can connect people, the way it can make people cry, the way it can make people understand or listen or express themselves, you know. I just think it's insanely powerful, you know.
Yeah. You know, I've always like heard of that about sports, but like this is my first time actually hearing like that kind of culture from dance. So like, yeah, it brings entirely new perspective to me.
I think it's so interesting to think about how everyone can dance. Like you don't have to learn anything to be able to do it. And I think that that's like something that makes it kind of unique in a way, because like, for example, like playing an instrument, like you need to like have some practice, know what you're doing, like that kind of thing. But dance, like you can just start like moving your arms, moving your legs, and like you're dancing, you're expressing yourself. So I think that's really like a powerful like aspect of it. Would you say that like dance bringing people together is like the reason why you like started dancing, or why you like continue to dance?
I think why I started was when you just kind of like discover that dance allows you to say the things that, like, you know, the English vocabulary just didn't really teach you how to say those things. You know, you can't, it's this like formless concept that you can't just like physically turn into words, right? There's certain feelings and certain expressions that you, like, no matter what I try to say to you, you know, with my words, I'm just not going to be able to express it in that way. And when I dance, right, that expression has there's a window for it to come out. There's a window. I'm not saying it comes out every time. You know what I mean? I think even to dance truly is like an elusive and amazing thing. Think about it like this. You ever like, you know, see somebody dancing across the street, you know, and your first instinct is like, that person's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But you can tell that they're for real about the moment, regardless of the situation, or dancing at like a high school dance or something like that. In your mind, you're just like, man, like you're embarrassing yourself. But then right after that, you really have to think about it. And you're like, honestly though, you just don't give a freak. Like, that's amazing. Like, there's something authentic about that. So it doesn't matter that you're good. It's more that you're like, I recognize real. You know what I'm saying? I recognize realness. And I think that that's what like real dancing is. It's like moving, there's dancing, right? And not even in the concepts of like trying to like impress or perform. It's just like the reality of it. You know, if I told you get up and dance right now, you most likely get up and move. You'd be like, okay, haha, this is really funny. You know what I'm saying? But later on, if you do the same type of moves, but you for real feel it, that's a dance. And somebody, if you for real feel it, I would be able to recognize that and be like, oh snap, that person is dancing. They're not moving, they're dancing. That in and of itself, that expression, I'm always trying to chase that feeling. Super addicting. It's like the most like, it's just like a higher frequency. You know what I'm saying? It's a different universe, and that is cathartic, therapeutic, relaxing. You know, like in and of itself. There's so many things that happen in that real experience. So first and foremost, I dance to express myself. You know, everything else that happens is a byproduct of that pure joy and love. You know what I mean? If I can't continue to do it in that way, everything else is just work, you know?
Definitely.
When you first started dancing, did you have to like build up your own self-confidence, or did you just hit that floor like, I'm confident, like I don't care what other people think about me?
Oh, absolutely, man. It's a ruthless experience that every human being has to undertake, trying to like beat themselves, right? Trying to like build up self-confidence. And dance is like you know, it's funny, if you really think about it, think about like I feel like I could walk outside right now, and if I walk for like 10 minutes, I'll probably find somebody dancing. Like they'll probably be doing like a TikTok video on the corner. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody's gonna be dancing now. And the crazy thing is like that wasn't as a parent, you know what I mean? Like years ago, like many, many years ago, like 10, 15, 20 years ago, you know, when I was like starting to enjoy to learn how to dance as well. Like the idea of dancing was still like hidden, taboo, not on social media, because social media wasn't really existent during those times, you know what I mean? So like what you would find would be like these very, very few dance videos. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like, because it wasn't regular to dance or to see it, the idea of what you were doing and trying to like express it to like people outside of your own circle, to like perform it or to whatever, like it was so incredibly scary, right? Because like I didn't know what I was doing. You only have a couple of videos, like I said, as inspiration points. That's it. Now for some reason, all you guys have TikTok, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody has this random foundation, even though they don't know where it comes from, or regardless if they have a quality movement, everybody has like this understanding of like a couple moves, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever it is. That's crazy. Like the whole damn world is connected by things like that now. So I just feel like now is a different time to experience like what it means to maybe build self-confidence as a mover. But back then, it was like, I feel for me, it was definitely difficult because you didn't just have this collective knowledge and foundation of movement. You was either dope or whack. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that was how it was in your head. If you're a beginning dancer, you never think about the gray area and the journey, right? You're just always like, man, I suck, or like I can't wait to be good. That's it. You don't really think about like, yo, I can't wait for this amazing journey of human growth and self-esteem, you know, progression. Like you don't think about that stuff. You're just like, I can't wait till I'm good. Hopefully I impress these girls. You know what I'm saying? That's all it came down to in the beginning. But yeah, that was like an experience to try and get to a place where I felt like maybe I would have confidence. And then there was like this tipping point, this like moment where I felt like I had tools to add to my self-confidence. So then like there was this moment where at first I was really shy about it. And then after I like practiced enough in some imaginary, you know, level in my head, I used what I had to actually add to my self-confidence. So I would like go to, you know, street parties or you know, whatever engagements that had music. And then suddenly I would be the dancing guy. You know what I'm saying? Like that would be my like swag kind of that you'd be like, oh, you're like the dancer. And yo, anybody who is like not a professional dancer who just loves dancing, right? Who enters a circle like or a clique, not like a literal circle, or yeah, a literal circle too, but you know, enters like a space and then people are like, yo, you're like the dancer. That feeling is so cool. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, I'm like a dancer. You know?
Yeah.
Totally fun. You don't know Jack, you know, but you're just like, yo, somebody called me a dancer. Like that's, you know, so I think that there was a tipping point when that self-esteem, like an insecurity level turned into, oh, maybe this is a tool to help me go out into the world and like identify with something, to feel that I'm not just like an existing being that like is trying to find purpose, but to be like, they're like, this is what I do. Oh my God. Like, what do you do? This is what I do.
When did you?
And when do you think you found that like self-confidence? Like college, high school?
I would say senior year of high school. Senior year of high school. And again, I only danced privately the entire ride in high school. After I got like that one class I told you about, nothing else ever came out in like a formal place, or even really with people. It was just always by myself. And then there was a lip sync performance at Sunny Hills High School. Lip sync was pretty much like, it's like air bands for San Diego communities. It's like, you know, you just get up there and you just do a musical type number, you know, and my classic, and really at the end of the day, not very artistic ass, like, was like, let's do a little bit of Grease. We did like Summer Lovin'. Let's do a little bit of MJ, you know. And then I came out and I had this, oh my God, it's the most embarrassing thing. I wish I had that video that I posted. Just laugh at it. I came out, just like black members only jackets, white button up, these ripped jeans, you know, these Air Force Ones, and like a plastic fedora from Party City, I swear. Oh my God, it's hilariously embarrassing. And I came out and I did Billie Jean. I did this MJ solo where I'm like just gliding and waving around. I guarantee you, if I saw it, it would probably be the worst dancing, but it was dancing. You know, I was in it. You know, I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm a shy, like nerdy kid, plays Magic the Gathering, you know what I'm saying? Drink lunch,
Yes.
you know, and like, you know, sometimes people pick on me like I don't exist, you know, and I wear glasses and whatnot, and I got braces late, you know, I'm like that kid. But right now I'm dancing to Michael Jackson on this like little performing arts center, and nobody's gonna take that away from me. And I feel like after that, I was just like, I have something. You know what I'm saying? And I found it late because, you know, in high school, everybody's just like murderous in high school, man. We're trying to judge you in high school.
Yeah.
You know, stack up on your chips and see like who you are, what affiliation do you have, you know? Same thing with college, by the way, but it's all fun now. But I finally, my senior year, you know, near the end or mid-year when that lip sync thing happened, I feel like I chose to step out on stage, regardless if I embarrassed myself or not. And then people afterwards, peers and non-peers at high school, after that lip sync, you know, some people would randomly come up and just be like, hey, that was a dope performance. And I remember being like, oh my God. Oh my God. And you gotta understand, I like tried out for the basketball team, didn't make it. Tried out for the fucking tennis team, didn't make it. Tried out for like, when I got like desperate, I tried out for the volleyball team, didn't make it. And then, I'm not trying to offend any volleyballers out there.
No, that's tough. That's
Varsity.
I looked at badminton and I was like, nah. And then you know, dancing was just, again, straight up, you know, there was only one at the time at my high school. I remember there was only one white dude that was in dance production or like in the dance program or whatever. And, you know, of course, all the boys was just, you know, thinking like, oh, I'm sure that dude's gay, you know? It wasn't like a homophobia, but it was just like, oh, that guy's probably gay. And that was just like an understanding that young, naive kids had. It's like, oh yeah, this boy dancing, yeah, it's probably gay, you know? So I wanted to dance, but I didn't want my friends to think I was gay. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna dance at home, not really care. And it was my senior year that I was like, you know what, like, I just want to dance. And I finally like just let myself do it. You know, I feel like people saw that reel, they recognized that reel, even though I sucked. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think people recognize the reel and they were willing to come up to me and just like, you know, either congratulate me or just give me props for just being real.
I want to backtrack a little bit where you say back in your day, dancing wasn't as common as it is now. So was there any pushback or stigma when you were pursuing performing arts as like a career, like either from your parents or from like peers and in general?
Yeah.
Peers, no. Parents, like, naturally, you know. I ain't gonna put my moms on blast right now because you guys, like, your moms know my mom, so I'm like, not gonna go too deep there. But yeah, of course, you know, my mom was very concerned because it described the dance career. You know what I'm saying? Like, describe how it works. Describe how you're gonna like make the money consistent and provide for yourself and provide for a family and buy a house and retire. Like, explain that. Nobody knows how to do it because there's not like a way, you know? And when there's no, seeing is believing, right? When you can't see the way, it's like, how can you believe it will work sometimes? And like, I understand it. It was, of course, hard for me to understand at the time. You know, I had to like grow up a little bit more. But think about it, like, you know, you like lose everything. You come over from the freaking war. You're like bunkered up in like a tiny apartment with like 11 brothers and sisters, you know, trying to figure out under the table ways to make some money, you know, provide for your young children, and then hustle your whole life and, you know, work 12 hours a day minimum, 6 days a week, hoping that your kids like, you know, study hard and stuff. Like that's like kind of just the way, right? And it's been the way for our generation. And you go to college and I spent money at college, right? Like like tuition, even at a local, at a in-state public college system, was still tens of thousands of dollars, right? That's like a whole rabbit hole conversation. Just the idea of college money and how it puts, you know, kids in freaking debt forever. Like that's a whole different situation, right? But you go through all that, and then it's like your kid's like, I'm trying to dance. I get it. Of course, I was like, Mom, you don't. I used to argue with her. I was like, you don't want me to be happy? I was like such a dick. You know, and just like, because it was real. It was real for me. That's how I understood it. You don't want me to be happy? Yeah. But that, you know, I had to check myself and recognize that like my actions are gonna speak louder than words right now. Just like there's a difference between saying like I'm a dancer. Yeah, I'm a dancer. I can say it, or I can get up and just do it and have real recognized real in that way. And so I had to prove it to myself first and foremost, but also to my whole family, you know, to my sister, to my mom, and to my dad, to prove that I could do it. Because if I don't prove it, what am I going to do? I'm just going to come home, ask for food, ask my mom, do my laundry, and just like, no, I got this. You know what I mean? Just like a pathetic guy. So I think it was when I first did a TV performance, it was for Dancing with the Stars. For they had like they consistently do this like Macy's special where they like bring in, you know, guest performers and whatnot, and then I was part of this like dance conglomerate concept called LXD, the Legion of Extraordinary Dancers, that was put together by John Chu, and I was just like one of these like, you know, specimen, I think was the term. And then I became this other thing called umbras within the kind of ecosystem where we were just playing characters, and we did this performance, and there's like 10 of us umbras or something with umbrellas, and we're like dancing in suits with these little bowler hats, right? Maybe like I'm telling my mom like, yo, you gotta watch me on TV. So like she like never watches TV the right way anyway. You know, it's always just like taped over weird Korean dramas and Vietnamese.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell her, I'm like, turn on TV. It's like at this time, you know what I mean? And they turn on TV, and like I'll watch that performance video. Now I can't even find myself. I can't even find myself. We all look the same, and it's like a split seconds of this performance moment. But you know, and my mom's like, I didn't see you, and I'm like, Mom, right there. Of course, here we talk right there. You know, but I just remember like that was a trigger moment that was like, this is an objectifiable way to be like, you see, like I'm doing it. I'm on TV. Something that you can tell your friends about, something you can pray about, you know what I mean? I remember she was like calling like, you know, her sisters and stuff and being like, Anthony's gonna be on TV. And everybody's like, where is he? I didn't see him. Like, I'm right there. You know, but that was, I feel like, the first moment after a year and a half of honestly having a hard time coming home, because I knew my mom was always gonna give me a hard time. My dad would just be silent about it because he's wise. He's a wise guy. He just knows I just gotta find out for myself. You know, he can give me pushback, and he knows it's gonna just separate my love and intention to be with the family at that time in my life. You know, he just knows that I'm probably just this like young but fiery kid. So he just stayed silent while my mom was just chomping at me. And you know, my sister was the only one that was like on the other end. My sister like balanced my mom out. She'd be the practical one though. She'd be like, I mean, you know, you're the only one that's got a shot at this, so you might as well try. You know, she was like always giving me just logic. I was like, all right, well, I'll go for it. So yeah, just gotta get on TV. That's how Asians like it.
As you got bigger and bigger, did you have any like starstruck moments where you're like, holy, like I'm working with like a really big person or like a really big venue. Like this is the dream. Like I never thought I'd make it here.
I would say top 5 in my life for sure was meeting Jackie Chan. Yeah, and it wasn't even a dance thing. It's just that dance had brought me to that space. You know, you got to think about it like, this might be an unpopular concept, but like, think about being like an Asian choreographer in America. It's not super easy to somehow break through the industry and become like Justin Timberlake's choreographer, Beyonce's choreographer, like, you know, especially if you're like an Asian male. And I'm not saying you can't do it, you know, especially in today's age. I think you got to just be the one. But like, it's just a little bit more difficult. Whereas in Asia, we are like put on like a pedestal. They're like, oh, look, those Asian cats over on the West Coast in the like actual entertainment industry capital of the world, they're like kind of doing something. They're like making noise. They're like, oh, they're surviving. You know what I'm saying? And we're kind of like the flower of inspiration, you know, for the culture out here on the West Coast. So like being able to go over there and then instead of kind of being like the underdog in the industry, you're kind of like the overlord sometimes over there. You know, they put you in really, really cool spots. So then you end up meeting really, really cool people. And I end up getting, you know, super cool with Jackie Chan's son, actually. And then it was just cool. And his son, JC, was like, it's like, hey, man, like, what are you guys doing tomorrow? And we're like, oh, we're leaving. You know, we got to fly back home after, like, this job. And he's like, well, I mean, we're working on a movie, you know, in town, not too far out of the city here. I don't know if you guys want to stop by, you know, before we leave. And I was like, oh, that's very generous. That's crazy, you know? So he's like, yeah, you know, my dad's directing. He's like, we're like, whoa, wait. Did you say your father is gonna be there? and all the Kinjaz, they look at me and they're like, because we have flights going out. There's no way. And so we're like, we'll stop by. We'll just everybody wake up early, pack up. We'll stop by, right? And then we'll head to the airport. So we packed up all our stuff. We had all our luggage in one van, and then all of us were in one van. And we drive like 30 minutes out of the city. We stop by this film set, and we walk in, and literally, I never would have ever thought in my life, like we walk in, everybody's super quiet, and we're like standing by like the video village of like the film set, and then the next room over, right? There's this girl on camera for this film that he's doing, and then, you know, she like does a scene, the camera moves over, right? And then from there, it's like a small cut, and then you just hear this dude's voice. I'm like, that's Jackie Chan's voice, right? You can't see him yet, right? And he's just like coaching. He's like telling her what to do. They have to redo the scene, right? They do the scene again. It's like super dramatic. You're just standing there like totally getting late for the airport, right? And then next thing you know, he's like, cut again. He like tried to tell her what to do. And then he tells her to move. She gets out, and then he sits down in the chair to do the same scene to show her how it's done. And then suddenly it's like all of us, everybody's like entire heart just stopped beating for like a second, right? This dude suddenly just sits down into the frame, and you're just looking at Jack. He's still not in the room, right? You're just looking at him, and then he like does the whole scene and just acts out the way that he's like asking to, because he's directing this thing. And we're like, watching Jackie Chan. Don't you think right now? You know, and it was just the most insane thing. Then he finally comes out, you know, This was huge, by the way. I didn't even realize he was like my height. You know, he's like 6 foot, you know, and he comes out larger than life, and he's doing his thing. He's very powerful, right? The energy around is obviously, this dude's like God, right? And then there's a moment where JC talks to him real quick, and he like comes over in between the break, and he looks over. He's like, "Hi, Kinjaz. Wow, you guys very good dancing, right?" And all of us like, he said our name, right? And then we like, you know, he's in between takes, and then we're just like, can we get a photo? So we get this photo with him. You know, he's like super nice about it. He's cool. And then as he's walking away, he looks at JC and he starts talking to JC in Chinese, you know. And then JC looks at me and he's like, oh, yeah, you guys gotta leave, right? I'm like, what'd he say? He's like, oh, my dad just invited you guys to dinner tonight. We're like,
just all chill.
and then all the guys again, they just look at me and I'm like, we're canceling our flights. Yeah. We literally we rebooked our flights for the next day. We moved our flights, and then we went back to the hotel we were staying at and checked in for one more night. So everybody was down to just throw down hundreds of dollars to just like make this thing work. And then we packed the stuff back in the room and then waited for dinner. And then we went out to go eat dinner with Jackie Chan and we ate crab. He's like, you like crab? King crab. Best, most expensive, all China. It was like, he's like sitting there at the table watching our YouTube videos. And then he's like literally saying, he's like, your choreography is fucking amazing. I already said that to us. I couldn't believe myself. But it was like, dance got us there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I would ever be able to sit in the room with like the American version of Jackie Chan here in America. I don't think I'd be sitting in a room with like Denzel Washington or like, you know, I don't know, The Rock star. I'll say I'm gonna sit down in the room with The Rock one day. That's gonna happen.
For sure.
That'd be dope.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like I just don't know how I'd ever be able to get my foot in that door. Where in Asia it's like you can meet, you know, these other people in that kind of social circle because we're just looked at differently. We look at like heroes over there versus over here, you know. But the Asian guys, you know, in Asia they don't look at you as the Asian guys. You're all Asians.
Right.
Yeah.
They end up seeing who you are. They're like, oh, that's the guy with this style, or that's the guy with the braids, or that's the guy with the whatever. Over here, it's just, what kind of Chinese are you? You know?
Right.
So it's a different world.
I heard you choreographed for some K-pop groups, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I worked on a good amount of
What was that like?
What is it like?
Yeah.
It's so fun, man. It's so fun. K-pop is like, I've never done crack before, but I would imagine K-pop's like doing crack cocaine.
Best analogy you ever heard.
Because it's not even like you have to, it's not even like it's not even if you like the song or not. You know what I'm saying? You're given a song, you're given a budget, and you're given a short amount of time. And you got to spread that budget out because there's a whole skeleton crew because these K-pop groups are big. So you got to hire, you know, obviously I work with my crew, but, you know, you bring in anyone from 7, 9, 10, 12, 13 dudes, you know, or sometimes even girls coming in, and then like there's so many singers that sing like one line. They'll like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, here's a little thing, and then one guy will come out and say like an ad lib. So it's like you have to highlight a bunch of different people at really kind of sporadic times. So you have to move people and make sure like the focus and the attention. So it's almost like an escape room for dance. It's like the limitations, the restrictions, the rules, or the things you have to do are already like put in place, and you have to find the way to make it work versus just like creating because it's like, okay, what do I want to create today? That openness sometimes is like super daunting. If I have absolute freedom to create, I might just go into like 2-3 sessions of nothing. You know what I'm saying? Just like trying to avoid the room or like playing video games or taking like 8 dumps in order to just like not do anything, you know, whatever. But when you're given like so many restrictions and pressure and you have a short amount of time to do it and everybody's waiting on you, like it's like taking like 10 Red Bulls down and just being like, I don't know how to answer this right now, but I'm the person who has to answer it. And that kind of creative, like just adrenaline, that hyperbolic time chamber is the most, I don't know, it's crazy to create like that. And then when you see, you know, these like huge celebrities, these pop icons doing your moves, you know, it's like, it's just insane. I can't. It's one of the most insane feelings. You guys all listen to K-pop or what?
I do.
Yeah, I think it's only Ethan. I think it's only Ethan.
I'm like a huge K-pop fanatic, but like I used to listen to like only K-pop and like Christian hip hop, and then I saw on like the Icon Instagram or something.
Yeah.
There was you did the collab with DK where you guys performed "Coming In Hot" by Lecrae, and I was like crazy fanboying over that. I was like, yo, it's like K-pop and Christian hip hop at the same time.
Icon, let me tell you about. Me and Ving were in Korea one time, and we were just in the middle of Seoul, and we were in like, I forget what the name of the hotel was, but it's this high-rise hotel, so you could just like see the whole city, right? And we were there. We were training some underling K-pop people for like this TV show that YG throws, and then this is at the time that we were choreographing. We had just done 2 numbers for Icon. I think it was Love Scenario and Killing Me.
You choreographed those?
Me and Bing did, yeah.
Yo. I'm sorry. I'm just really excited right now. those are really good dances. Like the Killing Me one, I love that choreography.
Thank you. And there's a moment where we're like in this high-rise building, and I look out the window. We're on the 15th floor. I look out, and there's like this park, and it's like really kind of a huge thing for people in like South Korea to just. I love the culture out there. People just show up to the park and perform. They just like dance and perform like K-pop routines. And the people that walk by, because so much foot traffic, they just like sit down on like a Saturday and just like watch people just dance, right? And I'm looking out of this window and I'm looking at Ving. I'm like, yo, Ving, dude, look, there's people dancing. He's like, oh, that's crazy, right? And I'm like, dude, wouldn't it be crazy if they were like doing our moves? That'd be crazy. And then we're like, hey, yo, Ving, they're doing our moves.
So dope, dude.
And we're literally like, it's like this floor to ceiling glass, and we're like standing like 2 big kids just like staring at and they're literally doing Killing Me. And I remember I felt so I don't know how to explain it. It's like you feel so big and you feel so small at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like we had done something powerful, even though like nobody knows that we did it, and that's okay. Like that's also some of the beauty in K-pop. It's like kind of pure creation because people don't really know you choreograph it. And I feel like the real ones don't ever really always go like, yo, I choreographed this. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we just do the work and we just kind of create, and then you just see people across the world doing your moves. You know what I mean? Like that feeling is just so like indescribable.
And that's like going off of like what you said about the culture of it, how like dance can bring so many different aspects of the world together. And it's like it's
absolutely, totally like that's the exact like best version of that expression. You know what I mean? Like yeah.
Kind of to switch things up, could you talk about your inspiration for founding the dance group Kinjaz, and kind of like a summary of like what happened, how you co-founded it, like how you guys moved forward, how you eventually got into World of Dance?
Yeah, I was dancing at the time. My first dance team was on CADC, and then at the same time, my boy Mike Song, who I met in college and ended up living with, he was on Kaba Modern, and those were kind of at that generation where they were like crosstown like dance team rivals. I'm talking for real team rivals. Like we were taught like to like not like Kaba Modern, and I know that Kaba Modern people were like taught stories about like CADC's people's whackness and whatnot, you know. But you know, any good crosstown rivalry has got some some drama. Anyways, I had joined CADC. It was a Chinese Association dance group. Mike was on Kaba Modern. It was like a Filipino modern team that was just like super killing it at the time, always killing it. And what's funny is we lived together in an apartment. So he ended up becoming the director of Kaba, and I ended up becoming the director of CADC. So we would also have like team parties and stuff in like our apartments. So there'd just be times where like Kaba and DC people would find themselves at our apartment partying. And then like there would also be times where specifically I remember like, you know, when I started directing, like one of my newbies ended up like kind of saying, you know, some stuff that they were taught about Kaba being like whack or whatever. And I remember just like being like, yo, like if you don't know them, like don't talk shit. Like, shit might have happened in the past, but you don't know who those people are right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, let's just focus on what we got to do and blah, blah, blah. Now I remember we just all started partying together, and then suddenly like CADC and like Kaba are like no longer rivals. You know what I'm saying? Through like myself and my song direct. I'm not saying it's all on us, obviously our generation, but like us as directors, like, you know, we lived together. So like we had no animosity. And I think from there, like the tension and when that eased up, a certain kind of core group of Kaba people, these dudes, and a core, you know, of my homies from CADC, we started to like hang out and click because like-minded, like movers, even though they were on separate teams, you know, like started sessioning and hanging out and whatnot. And those guys, like that group of friends, we ended up doing what was Ambu Black Ops in 2010 as a like technically as like my last performance. I was supposed to like stop dancing and move to Arizona for this whole work thing because I was in sales and whatnot. And I was like, yo, you know, I never got a chance to dance with you guys on stage. You know, we sessioned and whatnot, we competed, but never really got a chance to dance with you, especially my boy Mike. You know, I live with this dude, and I never get to share the stage with him like that. So I was like, yo, I'm gonna stop dancing probably. So let's get at it one time. And I hit up my boy Jason Park, who was directing Vibe, who was also a Kinjaz brother. And I was like, yo, man, you gotta give me a spot, dude. Like, this is my last time. And you know, like, you don't get spots at Vibe. Like, that's not how it works. But I totally like just as a friend, I put him in a corner and I forced him. And he gave me a spot. And then me and Mike was just like, oh, all right, let's just figure it out. And we just started putting dance moves together because we just like dancing a certain way. And we just loved Naruto at the time. Like, we were just like in love with Naruto at the time. And then one thing led to another, and organically it turned into this like funny, like Naruto themed spin-off kind of like anime dance show. And we didn't even let my boy Jason market us because we wanted expectations to like be so low because we were just joking around. It was like a going away performance, right? So that people didn't even know what we were. We said you can write Uncle Black Ops because we didn't want people to know what we were. That's how nerdy we was, you know? And then we do this performance. It's like 15 minutes. Like nobody performs for like 12, 15 minutes. Like like everybody's max like 6 minutes at these shows, right? We do like 12 minutes, 15 minutes from them. And we also remove like 2 rows of chairs from the floor so we can like run this transition around, like jump off stage and do this whole thing. Next thing you know, because I guess real people really recognize that we were just having the most fun ever. We get this huge standing ovation. Like, I'm talking like the best applause for a show I've ever experienced still to this day in my entire life.
Wow.
And that week, that Thursday, I remember I ended up quitting my job.
Dang.
And it wasn't even for dance, but it was just like, I remember that moment, like just kind of gutted my heart. It was just like, why are you leaving? You know what I'm saying? And I hated my job. I hated what I was doing. I hated people. I hated, not everybody, you know, but like, it was just a huge, like, just slap in life and just being like, well, are you really just chasing paper right now? Is it like all about money? You know what I'm saying? And that was a choice for me to make that call. And I was good at sales, you know what I'm saying? I still am, I'm sure, but it's like I had to make a conscious decision, just be like, look, you know, I could maybe go for money and not like what I do, not like who I am, and regret this for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Or I can not be afraid to fail in another space. You know? So next thing you know, I'm still in town. I don't move to Arizona, but I'm not trying to dance. I end up, you know, still finding another job. I get recruited for this other thing. And then I just dance on the side for fun. And it wasn't actually until, what was it? 2011, actually, like over a year later, you know, when I'm working for the street clothing company, and then, you know, the economy is like tough, things go down, and I am getting laid off. It was at the same time I get laid off that I also like end up breaking up with my girlfriend. or or we just broke up, and then I ended up having to move home. So I'm like 4 years old or something like that, and suddenly I'm like back in my parents' place, and I'm just like I got like no money, just depressed. It was terrible. But then so I started dancing because that's the only thing I have. I don't have a job, I don't have a girl. I'm just like heartbroken, so I just end up to relieve myself of the stress. I'm just dancing, and I pick it back up. And it was in that moment, in my lowest low, that I picked up dancing again. And when I picked up dancing again, I just like loved creating a choreography. Choreography was like me being able to like limitlessly like compose in free reign, and people couldn't tell you how to do it. It was like my call. It was the only thing I was in control of. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, I started creating these routines. I had no money, so I was like, yo, I should just teach this. And so I would teach it. And there was a period of my time where I was making $20 a class. And that was like sick. You know what I mean? I was like, dude, if I could teach 4 classes in a month, just once a week, I'm gonna pay my cell phone bill.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where I was at, So I was doing that. And the next thing you know, I'm like getting better at it. I'm like getting better at choreography. I'm like loving it again. I'm like trying to apply for jobs and hating applying for jobs and hating interviews. And then like going to teach for like $20, loving it. I'm like, man, this doesn't add up. And then at this time, Mike's song is with Kaba going all around the world with ABDC. ABDC had just blown up. And now this dude, this Asian looking ass dude, angry looking Korean guy is going around the world and just teaching freaking ISO, like popping types. Like you got to be into dance a certain way to just be like, like really about it, to be like learning like those kind of moves. And it's like, they're killing it. They're just going everywhere in the world. And it's like his name. It's like Cobbmon, Mike Song, Tony Tran, Lawrence, you know what I mean? Like these people are like teaching themselves. It doesn't say like Janet Jackson or like whatever, it's like their actual names. So I'm like looking at them, I'm like, man, you think I could do that? He's like, yeah, dude, what the freak? I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I didn't think that was possible. I was like, you think you can help me? He's like, yeah, man. And then that was it. I just made the call. So I picked up a sushi waiting restaurant job, So you gotta wait tables if you're trying to be like an artist, It's like the game plan, I guess. You need the flexibility. But I was like, I'm gonna prioritize dance opportunities, no matter how hard it works. So like every hour that I wasn't dancing, I was serving tables. And just taking my chances, and it was just like fight or flight.
Were there any moments where you were like kind of doubting if like this was gonna like work out, and like you were like scared or you felt anxious?
I think yes, always. And I think I was feeling that a lot, mainly because I was by myself. Just to answer even like that last conversational question, I was doing a lot of this journeying by myself. Like I had Mike to help me, but I had him help me find myself and my own voice in the game. And then when it started working, right, I didn't know how to outdance somebody. Like, I don't know how to be a better dancer than somebody. I can't teach somebody to be like a better dancer than somebody, but I might be able to influence them to hopefully be a better person, and through that mature their dance ability, right? That and work ethic. Work ethic is quantifiable to me. How much time you put in. Somebody can't take that away from you. I can't be a better dancer than somebody, but I'm gonna outwork you. That was the only thing that I had in my mentality at that time. And I was like, I'm gonna do a dance video every week and post this stuff. This is when people were not doing that on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? So I just started going ham, and then I suddenly started getting all these opportunities. And then I suddenly started hitting all these dream checklist items for what I thought it was to be a successful dancer by like teaching at certain camps or going to certain countries. I started knocking all these things down, and I was like, man, I'm killing it. Even though I'm like not really for real killing. There's obviously way more people in the world that are making like billions of dollars, but I'm like, I'm like not bad. Like there's $20 per class, and now there's this. People are like paying you to like fly somewhere like that you would normally consider a vacation. You know what I'm saying? And then suddenly you do it for a few years, and you run into like this kind of like artistically lonely journey, even though you're around people all the time. You know, you end up like, as you're promoting your own brand, because I was pushing like Anthony Lee brand. I remember this time I like rolled my ankle and I like couldn't dance, and then that was it. It was like the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole company just like is on pause now. So I rolled my ankle. That kind of like thought realm, you know. And I was like, this isn't gonna be the way. It's not the way to like change the world or make impact or like sustain myself, you know. And you know, guys at the same time were experiencing these exact same things, you know. Like Mike was in the same boat, you know. You know, Ving and Pat and you know John and Bam and you know Twinjas and all these dudes, you know, were in similar boats, in similar journeys, even though we were like doing different things. And then it was like this moment where me and Mike were like, look, it's hard for people to like, or it's not as easy for like the legacy of like one person to carry on. Of course, you got to be just a legend to do that. But the way that people can get behind an idea or like a brand, you know what I mean? That can be really empowering. So then that's when we actually made like Kinjaz into like a business. And this was like 2014. We're like, yo, let's stop worrying about the, you know, Anthony Lee brand or the Mike Song brand or the, you know, whatever. And we're like, let's bring this whole thing together and see if we can make even more noise, you know, and more impact and stuff like that. So 2014 until now, that's like pretty much been like the meat of the Kinjaz journey, that like, well, we started taking it serious because we would only perform together as like an exhibition for fun. You know, we were all directors of different dance teams, and we're still directing different dance teams at that time. So we would only come together as non-competitive, fun performance, you know, but like all of us were good. So suddenly people always wanted us to dance together, you know, and then I was like, all right, I guess we gotta take this thing serious. And then lo and behold, the following year, 2015, was when they decided to bring back America's Best Dance Crew. And they called it the season of the champions. They brought back all champions of America's Best Dance Crew. Kinjaz was never a champion. We weren't even on the damn show, but we had Ben Chung from Jabberwockies on our crew, and Mike Song from Kaba and Tony Chan from Kaba, right? So it's like they were technically the season 1 representation. So they wanted us on the show. So this was like, you know, that's like divine intervention. You know what I mean? That there's no strategic play there. Like that was like God giving you the handout and just being like, yo, don't know if you're worthy, but like here's your shot. There's all these champions here, and you guys, no one's heard of you before, you know, but here's your shot. And we were just these underdogs going against season 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all these champions of ABDC. You know, so I feel like that was, I don't know, now that I really reflect on it, I'm like, we didn't make that call, you know, like life just kind of said, the door's open, you guys gonna run or not, you know? And we just was like.
So recently you guys, or the Kinjaz had to close down their studio. And then I watched in like one of the videos, you said it was like pulling the arrow back like on a bow, and then like they're gonna like fire it in the fire bar. So could you kind of elaborate more on that analogy and how like other people could apply it to their lives and pursuing their passions?
Yeah, man. That analogy, that one's for me. That's like not even like me trying to like be this educator or whatnot, you know, because like I've obviously gone through my own stresses, you know, this year, and I've had to, you know, face this kind of like wall in myself of being like, did I mess up? What could I have done better? Could I have prevented XYZ? Not the virus and pandemic, but more so like how to sustain oneself in your business and stuff like that, you know? There's a lot of like, you know, I took myself out of the creative seat and started having to learn about, you know, stimulus packages and like, you know, unemployment and all these crazy, no, sorry, not crazy, but like all these realistic things, you know what I mean, that every business owner has to go through. And there's definitely a moment this year where I was just like, you know, it wasn't like a breakdown or anything, but it was just more like, man, can I do this? Is this it for us? Is this how we go down? You know what I'm saying? And then obviously coming back in full circle and really trying to kind of get a grasp on what's going on and recognize, you know, especially with even like the, you know, the civil rights movement and everything that's going on right now, it's kind of like my problems are, they're just speed bumps. They're not like problems. Like people got problems out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying mines don't exist. You know, I have to respect the things I'm going through as well, or my crew is. But then it just made me realize that, like, yo, like, we either gonna fall right now and that's it, or we're gonna have to treat this like a bow and arrow. Understanding that it's gonna take, it's gonna feel like resistance and effort. It's gonna feel like we're going backwards, but that's the only way we're gonna even have a shot, you know what I mean, at firing off again. Is to scale back, is to be reserved, is to be cautious and patient. Is to take aim. You know what I mean? It's to like level our breathing and all of that. And like it's going to take that kind of seriousness. Like I imagine even with a bow and arrow, if you're like, I'm not trying to shoot at a target. I'm like trying to like hunt my prey in life to survive right now. You know what I mean? I imagine that moment where you pull back, that like that moment where you're about to ride like a roller coaster, you know what I mean? You click all the way up to the top, and then there's this like minor silent moment when the clicking stops before you start plunging. I imagine that's where 2020 is right now, and I have a choice to either like aim and fire or just stop hunting in general. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why that analogy helped me understand what I'm doing in this time, because it looks like I'm going backwards. But, you know, that's the only way to go forward.
Yeah, I love how you kind of just like change your mindset, because like it's the same situation, it's just how you look at it, and that's crazy. It's crazy.
I was also thinking about like Corona, and you guys have been wearing face masks way before Corona. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, it's ironic. It's actually, you want to know how ironic it is? It's like now everybody's doing dance videos wearing masks. So everybody's looking like Kinjaz. So now it makes me think to, like, we were joking around the other day. We're like, maybe we got to rebrand ourselves now, because now everybody looks like us.
No, you started the trend. Just tell them that. Yeah.
Real recognize real.
So it's a little bit past 1, and we want to be respectful of your time. So I'm gonna ask one last question, and that's gonna be if you had one piece of advice you could leave anyone that's listening with, what would that be?
I'm just gonna speak off top. I don't have like a specific thing.
Yeah, you chilling.
But I think we live in a very brave new world. You know what I mean? I think it's very volatile. I think it's overly hostile. I think it's hypersensitive. I think it's incredibly media based and overly connected, you know, and digitized. I think we live in a very brave new world. If there was somebody from like the early 1900s, they rolled out their grave and walked into this place, they would just be like this and just go right back down. You know, like it's ridiculous. So I would just remind everybody out there though that like that's okay. That's perfectly fine, and it's perfectly beautiful in the way that it is, and we just all got to try our best to be better, always. You know what I mean? Always try your best to be better. There's no moment in the journey where it's like, I'm here. Never. You know what I mean? Every single time you think you're there, you're like, oh, I'm here, is this immediate moment you recognize that all you did was take one more step. And so you're at the top of that step, but you're at the bottom of the next.
I love that.
Yeah. But it's beautiful. It's where you actually want to be. You always want to be climbing. You don't ever want to be done with the hike. You know what I'm saying? But like no matter how I think disheartening and heavy things have become in terms of our awareness, our wokeness, right? These things have always been happening. We're just paying attention to them now, you know? Now it's being caught on camera. Now the world is vocalizing it in a certain way, in a very extreme way. You know, I would say, especially to anybody, even in your guys' age generation, to just not worry so much about it, but to just try your best to be better people.
Mm-hmm.
It's a continuous journey, and I'm gonna always have to be a student of life like that too. I'm never gonna, I might be able to sit here and be like, oh yeah, sure, I have some advice to offer you guys because I'm older, sort of experience more, but like wisdom comes at a price. The price of wisdom is oftentimes pain, right? Whether it be in making mistakes or failure or embarrassment or insecurity or whatever. Failure is every part of the process. So it's just the older you get, I think the more you open your mind and your heart to the idea that you can be okay with the kind of the dirtiness of the world. And I think the world's really dirty right now, So I would just tell people out there like, yo, it's all good. If we all just try our best to be better, the world will be, our world will be what we make it, is all.
I love that. Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on. I know you're extremely busy, and we really appreciate you coming on and just talking with us. So
yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I hope it was a good and fruitful conversation for you guys.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was good.
I feel honored and privileged that you guys willing to ask questions and hear me out and stuff. And obviously, it's fun to stay connected, to all the scouts out there. So, yeah, I already know.
And vice versa. Thank you so much for just providing this like your story and your wisdom, just being able to set aside some time for you to give us some advice. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know this episode's gonna come out amazing.
Yeah. I'm not gonna even lie, like throughout this whole interview, it's kind of surreal. Been watching you on YouTube and TV and everything. It's like this is kind of our little Jackie Chan moment. So I just want to thank you again. I'm really grateful for you to come on here. Yeah.
No,
he's still on a screen, but this time the screen's talking back.
Thanks for your time, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, peace.